All right. B, welcome to the studio, man.
Good to be back, man.
Oh my gosh, it's been a while.
Season 2.
Season 2. We're here.
Yeah, we're here, man. A lot has changed since season 1.
Absolutely.
You think you go away for a couple of weeks or a couple of months and you think you jump right back into the captain's seat, but
Oh my goodness.
we've got civil unrest, we've got COVID-19, 200,000 dead since we've left.
Wow.
We've got an economy with uncertainty. I don't call it a flailing, economy or eroding economy. I think we got an economy now that's kind of uncertain.
Yep.
Which offers its opportunities and risks and rewards in itself. But yeah, got a uncertainty in who will be our new commander in chief.
Oh my goodness.
Will be Trump continue?
Yep.
Or will we have Biden in? And both offer its own set of positives and its own set of challenges. So
exactly.
A lot of, I guess the underlying word is uncertainty right now. So yeah.
Well, one thing that's certain is that we are here, season 2 by the block with Bryan Chavis. I want to thank you guys for listening, and before we get into the podcast, man, just a quick thank you for all the listeners, all the support from season 1. We want to thank our sponsors as well. Thank you to the Multifamily Matrix for sponsoring the podcast, Bryan Chavis Coaching and Consulting, Renometer, Buildium, Home Depot Pro. As we go throughout our season, you're going to learn more about these different programs and how they help us to succeed in the multifamily industry, as well as how they can help you. So big shout out to our sponsors for helping us make this all happen. And B, thank you so much for once again just joining me in the studio, man.
Yeah, and another sponsor, Allison's Alligator.
Oh, thank you.
Digital marketers, check them out. Everything we do is powered, branding wise, is powered by Allison's Alligator. So big shout out to Nathan and his company for putting together the Matrix, the websites. Everything you see, Bryan Chavis.
Yeah.
So big shout out to your company.
Oh, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Man, so like you said, things have changed, man. What's going on in the state of the real estate world right now?
I think we hit it on the head. Uncertainty.
Yeah, uncertainty.
The uncertainty of COVID. We would have liked 90 days ago to be a little bit further advanced with everyone being on the same page. Mm-hmm. But if we look at, we did a whole presentation, almost 45-minute presentation in our skill builders inside the Matrix.
Yeah, that was really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Forecasting.
Yep.
Back then, 90 days prior, with a 90-day outlook where we are today, I would have liked to thought that we would have been a little bit more, reading off from the same playbook.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have liked to seen, that we're all, the CDC and the scientists and, our politicians, our leaders, a little bit more on the same page. That's been the unfortunate part that kind of allows the uncertainty to stay at the level that it's at, which is a high level of uncertainty, which affects the markets.
Right.
And then now we're moving into the holiday season, and we're moving into the colder months, which means, the flu season on top of COVID.
Wow.
So, how is that going to look? People are still somewhat out of work, even though things are starting to look better. But will the new surge of, the flu, how will that affect employment?
Right.
How does, a possible change in our political climate, whether it be Biden or Trump, what does that look like? So, there's still some things that are, again, uncertain.
Right.
But it also offers a lot of opportunity as well.
That's true. This was one of my favorite sessions that you did. I'm going to have you break this all down. So you put together a really cool chart. I want you to take us through those 4 phases. But before we do that, I just want to ask you guys to like the podcast, leave a review. It helps us to, make sure that this is one of the #1 podcasts, make sure that this gets out to more people that are listening and looking for real estate content. Please like and leave a review. B, real quick, what's coming up in season 2? You know, what are some of the things that we're going to be talking about moving forward?
I think season 2 is going to be extremely interesting for the simple fact that the world has changed since season 1.
Right.
Literally, how many times do you see world events like this? As I said at the top of the show, 200,000 dead.
Yeah.
A new economy. You know, a new workforce.
Right.
You know, profile. Meaning people back to working from home,
Right.
and you know, just, you know, there's again, you know, a change or possible, you know, more of the same, you know, and with our political climate. So all these things are going to affect markets. And, you know, so I think season 2 is really, you know, unpacking a lot of this,
Right.
you know, in real time.
Right.
You know, we work a lot and pick topics and dive deep.
Yep.
But I think we're going to have to do more of what we did here in the Skill Builder, which is take real life topics and develop, you know, training and curriculum. And I think this podcast is going to have to address current affairs.
Right.
You know, and figure out how to, you know, do a 30-minute show addressing exactly what's going on in the market and giving people insights from, you know, operators, an operator like myself.
Yep.
You know, how do you raise money in this climate? How do you operate in this climate? How do you manage property in this climate? So, you know, how do you evaluate assets in this climate?
Right.
You know, so all these things in real time are unfolding, and you know, and it's our job to unpack those.
Absolutely. And it's our mission to help make sure that people are investing in multifamily, that we're actually buying the block, we're owning multifamily property. And so, yeah, there's a lot to take advantage of in this type of climate, but there's a lot you can get wrong, you know, so we're going to cover all of that. So B, this was an amazing session that you had put together in the Matrix, forecasting the cycles. And so what I want you to do is talk us through the different phases. So there's 4 phases, starting with the recovery phase. Mm-hmm. So what are we looking at in this type of phase during COVID-19?
Yeah, so, you know, keep it real simple, the bullet points. In recovery phase, you look at declining vacancies, no new construction. You know, those are your, you know, typically, you know, in that recovery phase, it's all about, you know, operations and bootstrapping. You know, you tend to see more in your rent roll, more non-renewals, the inability to raise rents, higher vacancies, higher collection rates, longer absorption rates.
Okay.
You know, these are all the things that are tall tale signs of a recession or phase 1 of recovery. You know, and of course of recovery, you're seeing a decline in those. You're seeing a certain percentage of vacancies drop, certain percentage of absorption rates drop, which means you're getting more traffic. Okay. More traffic is converting into leases. That kind of are tall tale signs of recovery.
Excellent. And so then there's the second phase, which is expansion. And these are normal cycles within multifamily, but it's definitely changed due to COVID. So explain, what is the expansion phase? How is it different now?
Keeping it simple, declining vacancies.
Okay.
You know, now you're starting to see cranes, new construction.
Okay.
A lot of breaking grounds of projects. You've seen this 2 years ago. Just take the market of downtown St. Pete when I entered into it. You've seen the expansion phase. That's where we were really hot and heavy 2 years ago, into this expansion phase. Yep. You know, at the end of the day, you know, again, seeing the tall tale signs of cranes in the sky and the tall tale signs of lower vacancy rates, you know, things ramping up my ability to charge those aggressive rents for those studios.
Yep.
You know, these are all signs of an expansion. So I hit hot and heavy during this expansion. We picked up, you know, Park Plaza apartment building in downtown St. Pete, right during what I feel was the expansion.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of rode that horse, you know, and that horse, you know, again, signs lower vacancies, more construction, lower absorption rates, meaning the more traffic you got converted into rents, your ability to raise rents, your ability to increase rents upon renewals. is what I was experiencing, what we experienced during the expansion, and what others have experienced during the expansion.
Excellent. So then there's the third phase, which is called the hyper supply. What is that What is the hyper supply, and then how has it changed during COVID?
So hyper supply is kind of right where we were at the top, at the peak. You're starting to see, possibility of things changing and softening.
Okay.
Hyper supply is where you see an increase in vacancy, still new construction, but you might start getting, new construction online now,
right?
Coming online, causing downward pressure on a lot of projects, including, like what we were going to see in Park Plaza.
Right.
COVID took the phase 3 and kind of fast tracked it. You usually have, it might take a year or so, maybe even longer for that to work itself out, right. Hyper supply, phase 3. But COVID pushed us into a downward spiral. You've seen in 90 days, a whole entire economy fall apart. And that's kind of where we came in. Then of course you move into phase 4, which is a recession. Okay. Right. And so a recession was, all of the higher vacancies, the inability to raise rents or increase rents, higher delinquencies, higher turnover rates. And what COVID did was move us into a much fast tracked, the hyper supply phase right on into a recession.
Okay.
And so, it caused, a ton of issues. Some of the key issues were, dealing with, and it took a minute. It was almost like a crack of the whip. It took a minute for that right, for the tip to crack. A lot of folks were like, "Oh no, I got multifamily. I'm not seeing any signs." You remember that?
Yep.
And I kept saying, "No, wait, you haven't seen the signs. You got these stimulus packages. You've got people with savings. You got right. some credit cards. You had a healthy economy, so people were, their ability to keep the music playing.
Of course.
Our renters, that ability wasn't really bottlenecked. But you need to give it, you had to give it a little bit more time. And that's where I was saying, right. No, watch, wait, give it a little more time. You're going to see when the stimulus runs out, when the savings runs out, when the credit card bill statements, yep. When they start maxing their credit cards out, you're going to see, an increase. And I said back then, this was almost 40, 50 days ago we did this, almost close to 90 days to our prediction. I predicted back then, watch 90 days from now, which is really today, that you're going to see, an increase, and you're going to see the ill effects of multifamily. So now you're starting to see it where credit cards have been maxed out, stimulus is gone, savings are gone. And so you're starting to see the delinquencies increase. And plus now you cannot evict in most states. And so now you have tenants living in the rental units, not paying rent, and if you think that, things are going to change moving into the holiday season, you're sadly mistaken.
Oh my goodness.
So that's going to push a lot of this into 2021 first quarter.
Right.
So, you're not going to be able to evict some, possibly into the first quarter of 2021. So how's that going to affect a lot of operators? It's going to negatively affect, obviously, operators, but more so those operators who are highly leveraged, meaning they bought the asset and promised certain prefs and returns to their investors and use leverage as a tool to be able to increase returns. Ideally, that's real estate. Most people are listening to this podcast going, well, yeah, Bryan, that's, ideally, ideally that is, that's what we were supposed to do.
Right.
Right. We were supposed to use leverage. Isn't that what all the books taught us? Use leverage.
Okay.
But leverage is something that you have to really pay close attention to. It's a tool, it's a lever to be respected.
Okay.
You really have to, and when you're talking about underwriting multifamily, it's really important to understand multifamily underwriting from an asset manager and property manager's perspective.
Okay.
Because you tend to know and have a better knowledge of what micro headwinds, or how those headwinds are going to affect you from a micro level, from an economic standpoint.
Okay.
The property managers tend to know, how these headwinds are going to affect occupancy, rental rates, maintenance, evictions, all the things, you tend to understand, these a little better, and how they're going to affect the bottom line. And how they're going to affect the underwriting and the return. And so, that's unfortunately, that's what we predicted 90 days you're going to see. You're going to see these operators, and a lot of the operators are really not that strong at the operational level, especially when we talked about this project. When we talked about doing this forecasting 90 days ago, I was saying it was going to affect a lot of the non-institutional investors a lot more. Anywhere between 80 units and down. So between 20 to 80 units, you were going to see the effects of COVID, hit that demographic group a lot harder. Because typically there's a lack of fundamentals at the operational level. Even if there's a third-party property management in place, it's typically not an advanced type of property management company that is going to handle those type of assets.
Okay.
It's typically a real estate brokerage that's probably, got a large portfolio of single families. They're a licensed realtor who's doing property management to bring in income. Right. They might do a great job, but at the end of the day, these are not multifamily specialists. To rely on them at the operational level, is risky. Right. It's okay in a good market, But when these headwinds start to come up, this is where you get to see who's swimming naked when the tide rolls back. And that's where you're kind of, that's where we are now is, you're seeing a lot of these individuals, swimming naked. You're going to see a lot of these properties, start to tailspin, if things don't pick up, here, fairly quickly. And you got to also remember that period that you have between now and when things do correct themselves, even if it's only, first quarter of 2021, let's say we get back on track, vaccines and everything. Even if we get back on track, a lot of these operators can ill afford 3 to 4 months of declines, higher vacancies, more turnover, inability to evict.
Okay.
So, you're going to see this affect, you're going to see this affect, the debt markets, so a lot of these lenders are going to have these assets on the books. So how's it going to affect the lenders? And we can talk a little bit more about that later, but these lenders are going to eventually have to fish or cut bait. Most of them are going to cut bait with the smaller operators. Because, at the end of the day, the lack of operational skill sets, the lender is going to be, feeling like the project is more riskier now.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes it's better to cut bait versus to go fishing with that particular operator.
So what does this look like as far as opportunity for investors, people that are looking to get into multifamily,
That's good.
People who already own certain amounts of properties? So we have a ton of students in the Matrix that are, ramping up their knowledge. They're getting ready for opportunities like this. Where are the opportunities? What does this do for people that are looking to buy?
So the flip side of the coin is if you are someone who's been on the sidelines with dry powder, waiting for opportunities, this is your time. So, syndicators who are skillful and understand the asset management and property management side of things and understand how to raise money, because, these are all talents in and themselves. These individuals are going to find these opportunities. You're going to find distressed assets now, I believe moving forward. You're going to let's just put it this way. They're going to be more than there was a year ago. Right. They're going to be more than there was 9 months ago.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? So, is it going to be an abundance of opportunities? Is that tree going to be, full of foreclosure fruit? I don't know that I don't know.
Right.
But I do know there's, for the person that understands what they're looking for, they'll find some opportunities and deals that perhaps weren't probably available 9 months ago.
Right.
So, there's going to be some opportunities for individuals with that dry powder on the sideline to take part in some opportunities that, where others have over leveraged and got themselves in trouble. There's going to be some opportunities for a lot of individuals to, to slide in and gladly, welcome that opportunity.
Excellent. No, I'm loving it because, as people are listening, I just want them to see, okay, yes, you got to be careful, but there's some opportunities out here.
Absolutely. There always is. A down market's always going to bring about opportunity.
Exactly.
So, it's just, what do you know what to do with that opportunity? You also can't be one of the individuals. And a lot of times you've seen this in 2008 where people took advantage of the opportunity, but they were lacking the skills of the individuals that got themselves in trouble. And sometimes it repeats itself.
Right.
So, for those who really understand operations and understand how to implement the proper systems and understand what multifamily, that it's more than just underwriting and raising money,
right,
that somebody's actually got to run the property, Monday through Sunday. If you really if you're really strong on the operational side, this season coming up is for you.
That's it. Well, moving forward, I want to talk about one of our shiny new tools, the Multifamily Matrix, 2.0.
2.0.
So we just launched a brand new platform for multifamily investors. Tell us about it from your experience, seeing new 2.0, all the features. Tell people, what can they expect, by getting involved in this?
Wow. The reason why 2.0 was done was to offer, curriculum that was comparable to what you could receive in the, at the university level, at the highest levels, which excludes a lot of people either financially or because of the time commitment. Where do you go? You can go to a boot camp, you can go to plenty breakout sessions and things of that nature, but where do you actually go to receive high quality education training where you have workbooks and, instructors manuals and workbooks and certification courses, not just one, but multiple certification courses in every facet of multifamily industry? It's not out there, again, unless you decide to embark on a degree, of higher education.
Exactly.
That didn't exist. And then how do and then to couple it with the higher degree of education and training, couple it with coaching and consulting sessions, on a weekly basis. That's the Multifamily Matrix, one place, one shop where you can go. You can be in the Multifamily Matrix and be thinking about human resources and or just be thinking about taking over. If you're a small operator and you're looking at starting your own property management company and removing maybe your property manager and you taking over, now you have a content library that you're able to access all these forms, all this knowledge, right? And it's incredible. So if you're going through that process and you need a checklist on exactly what you need to report, you need to pull and a guideline, a step-by-step checklist and guideline of how to take over your own property or implement your own property management systems, you have that training inside the Matrix. You got these checklists, these spreadsheets. Got everything you need. If you have maintenance issues 1 week or 1 month and you're like wanting a checklist on how to revamp your maintenance, how to implement maintenance systems or operating systems to better capitalize on maximizing your income and minimize those expenses through operations, are just specifically maintenance. You have a training course inside the Matrix that you can take. You have resources and checklists on how to perform punch outs, make readies, how to work on resident retention and maintenance issues. You've got these spreadsheets. You've got spreadsheets for budgets on how to work with vendors and contractors and things of that nature. So, if your issue at this particular moment is, operational, dealing with high turnover,
right?
You've got, a course on asset and property management training where you can go in and take, specific training on dealing with rules and regulations in your qualifying criteria and how to possibly make changes within your qualifying criteria to help eliminate a lot of the issues of delinquencies and turnovers and skip outs and things of that nature. So, having access to that training and having access to those procedures, manuals and models are really important. So that's, what the Matrix is about. And
then one of my favorite parts is the live mastermind session. So every week we're doing live masterminds. Tell us more about your experience, with the live mastermind. So you host these masterminds every Thursday night.
Yeah. And that's the consulting and coaching aspect.
Right.
So, that's being able to talk to an operator.
Right.
And being able to not only just receive education and training and get these workbooks and receive and watch these great video lessons that we have. And, but now you're also able to take part. You're also able to network.
Yep.
And these skill builder sessions we do on a Thursday are just, an added bonus to help you brush up on certain skills on topics that we have. And they're always timely topics.
Absolutely.
So we're always talking about something specific to operations or specific to something that's going on in a specific, in a current cycle.
Yep.
So it's always current information of how to unpack and deal with certain issues that most operators would be dealing with. And
right.
and it's, it's not just state specific,
right,
or regional specific. We handle topics that are, affecting all of our students who are all over the country, some all over the world.
Absolutely. And it's exciting. Yeah. This is an international group of investors. We've got owner operators, we've got professional athletes, we've got, people that are aspiring investors, all in this mastermind, asking questions, getting their questions answered, not only by yourself, but by other people who have experienced the same things that they're going through. And then we also bring in industry experts. So, we've had some great syndication attorneys, different experts. So tell us more about that and what can people expect as far as...
Yeah, just bringing in special guests, I think is important. Our attorneys, accountants, other developers. Sometimes, some of our students that are at a higher level that want to speak about their experience, and perhaps, may have a 30-minute presentation that they put together by, about a certain process that they've just gone through, whether it be an acquisition or a rehab or something of that nature. So, a special guest is really cool because, for me, these special guests that I bring into the Matrix are at a real high level. It's, dealing with individuals, like Mark Willis, former CEO of Keller Williams, bringing in my guy, Andrew Wright, I hope, from Franklin Street, Melvin, top syndicating attorney, Paul and Adam Vincent, attorneys that bring a lot of, dynamics to the table, small business entrepreneurial mindsets, attorneys, tons yourself, how to brand, how to market, do's and don'ts, just a ton of, high level, guest speakers that are going to be coming through. A lot of professional athletes, we'll have coming through talking about their personal, experiences. And really what I'll be picking their brain is the leadership, aspect of what it is they do. Really important. So, just a lot of high quality guests, but at the end of the day, we try to really keep it to a narrow field, not too broadband. You have to have some sort of CEO or high level. You would have to be an athlete at the highest level, to be able to have a session. We're just not going to hand the mic and bring anyone in to speak. Right. I'm really excited about that. Giving individuals access to these individuals is really cool.
It's exciting. And so we have an introductory special for you guys to join the Matrix. It's actually only $99 a month on our Investor Pro level. So if you visit bryanchavis.com/matrix, you can take advantage of our introductory rate. This will give you access to all of your forms, your masterminds, your Q&A sessions, as well as all of your training modules. We have over 200 different learning paths, learning modules that you can take within the Matrix to earn your certifications and actually learn how you can own and operate multifamily. So please visit bryanchavis.com/matrix. And once again, thank you to the Multifamily Matrix for sponsoring this podcast. Once again, man, thank you so much for joining me in the studio, bro. Definitely looking forward to, just diving into this week after week with you, man. Yeah. I know the fans are excited. We're just, continually helping people own and operate multifamily, man. So
absolutely. And be looking for that link too. I wanted to mention that, people are, what's the Matrix all about? Can we get a sneak peek? Yes. Be looking for that link. We're going to be working on getting you guys a link, that we'll have posted throughout social media where you can kind of, get a tour. Yeah. Me and Nathan will guide you through and kind of, show you what the Matrix is all about. So, and hopefully some of our students watching, will be able to chime in and post their experiences,
of course,
inside the Matrix, which is going to be really cool and really important to have those testimonials. So man,
that'd be excited. Cool. Yeah. Hey, once again, man, thank you so much for joining me in the studio, and I definitely look forward to talking with you next week.
Absolutely. Season 2
underway.
All right. Take care, brother.
All right, brother.
All right. Bye.